Yeah.
Welcome along to live coverage of what is round 17, I think, of the Inside Line Racing League season. We are here at the Japanese Grand Prix. It's the Xbox tier, ILR1, and we have a championship that can be decided today. Veloci Prize has a 101 point lead at the top of the driver standings. He will be champion today if OMG It's Joe does not outscore him by at least 2 World Championship points. There's 125 available after this race. There will only be 100. So he has to get underneath 100 points before the end of today. I have got James Baker alongside me for this one today. I'm making a return. I wasn't here in Russia, but it was a cracking race in Russia last time out, and I'm sure we're going to have another one here today, James.
Yep, Russia was fantastic. We saw plenty of action in that race, not least a race incident, a clash between the top few cars on the laser parts of that race, and the race was just so close between everyone, really, as it has been throughout the entire season. To be completely honest, the championship gap, although the championship will be won today, I don't think that really represents just how close this championship has been. I think it's been so much closer these last 10 or so Grand Prix. The start of the season was an absolute whitewash, but really up and since then, we haven't had the clean sweep from Surprise. It's very similar, this, to the 2011 Formula 1 season, where in Singapore, Vettel could have won it, didn't. He obviously couldn't win it in Russia last time out, Surprise. But we looked at this race as well, and of course, the Japanese Grand Prix in 2011, Jenson Button won it, but Vettel only needed a point to win it, and that's basically the scenario we find ourselves in here today with Veloci Surprise. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on, faring under the pressure, but early doors for a championship nonetheless.
Well, yeah, he has been absolutely magnificent throughout the season. He's been the most consistent of all the drivers. As the season's gone on, we've added a few class names to the roster of the likes of CRG Evo, the man you're riding on board with at the moment, and it really has strengthened the league up. And I'm really looking forward to next season as well, when we end up with a much everyone back on 0 points and the strong field going into the new year. But that takes nothing away from Surprise. He still had to deal with the likes of Martin, Limitless, and Simon. Before Evo's late arrival, Joe as well, of course, and he has done brilliantly, to be honest, as Surprised to have dominated the seasons as well as he has, and looks like if it's not going to be this week, it's going to be in the very, very soon, perhaps the week after. We'll keep an eye on it as CRG Evo comes into the pits. He was lining up for a quick lap. TSR Bastek has gone quickest of all of the 3 runners to set a time. He's 2/10 quicker than VSR Drelex in second and Beefer in third. Now the tyre compounds this weekend, we've got the super soft. I think we've got the soft and the medium. Is that correct, James? I'm not
sure. That's
yeah,
correct.
So there you go. Super soft, medium, and the soft as well. Now, I mean, I don't know much about Japan, to be honest with you. I take it you can qualify on the super soft tyre.
Yep, you can qualify on the super softs. Some may decide to qualify on the softs. There's very differing strategies for this one. It's actually one of the more interesting ones of the season. You'll see a couple of guys try it on the softs, and if they can nail a top 10 start, they'll be laughing, because tyres really aren't that bad around here, but it's quite close, what I'm hearing. It's a bit sketchy between the two compounds of tyre. You can do super soft to medium. Some prefer the soft to medium, and I wouldn't blame them for playing it safe at the end of part of the stint or the end of part of the race. So you may see a few soft runners, and they're just doing their almost, you want to call them reconnaissance laps on the medium sets of tyres. But yeah, I think that's what you want to be watching out for, at least, is just seeing who will set their time on the super soft tyres. We could have a surprise pole position here today, and that's what's going to make it interesting.
Yeah, well, we've seen that so often already this season. We've seen people go for that different strategy with the pole position. The one legit pole position, of course, back in Baku, remember, was Jork and EVR Reynolds on the front row, which was crazy, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy when that occurred earlier on in the season. And that was everyone on the intermediate tyre. Just the perfect lap from both those drivers gave us that surprise front row on that occasion. Any time it has been different from that has been by people going on softer compounds. But it could be an interesting one today. There's no, as James says, no obvious strategy to go for as we ride on board with CRG Simon, who's returning to the series after two or three races out. And good to see him back, isn't it, James? And a man who arguably is the fastest man over one lap in this tier, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely is. It's just his raw pace is something to really just watch and ponder because he's so quick. All these guys really do have different ways of attacking the circuit, the way that they drive the car. It's really interesting actually because Simon is just light on the brakes. He can do everything, just so almost nails everything. Well, maybe not nails everything. He's a bit squirmy now here and again, but he can just throw car into corners, and it doesn't really bother him at all. And yeah, you're right. Off raw pace, he must be one of the quickest that we've got here. Well, today and this season we've seen as well. But just recalling back, the last 10 Grand Prix, Surprise would still be leading the championship, but by nowhere near as much as what he is at the moment. That was such a struggle to say. I was so excited to get it out of my mouth.
Yeah, of course, Simon, remember, the opening 3 races really did dent his championship right away. No points he collected in the opening 3. Surprise only went and picked up 65 out of possible 75, and that really did set the tone for Simon's season early doors. Although he has had good moments, he has won on 4 occasions this season, has VSR Simon, so we know that he is very quick, but it's when he isn't winning, he needs to make sure that he is coming home with a strong result and not retiring. So let's give an eye on CRG Simon as we watch him climbing up the hill. It really is a fantastic circuit here in Japan. Probably one of the most challenging circuits for the drivers over the course of the whole season, James. And it's not because of the nature of the corners and stuff like that. It's also because of the huge runoff areas that have gravel traps, not runoff areas where you can just rejoin easily. You go across the gravel, you can find yourself in the barrier quite easily, can't you?
Yeah, traction zones are quite key around here. You see the hairpin that Simon just went through there. Traction there isn't easy. You want to keep your foot planted, but you just can't do it. As well as the locking up that you'll find as well. Spoon curve will pay dividends to that. And you're right, the runoff areas are so close to the circuit. There's only a slight bar of AstroTurf, about 5 or so, not even that, there's just a few metres between themselves and the gravel traps. But yeah, that was what makes what Formula 1 was really known for, was the whole gravel trap kind of thing. And I really do prefer the gravel traps, if I'm going to be completely honest. Really test the driver's skill and will, makes the circuits feel a lot more enclosed, a lot more tighter in, so they can't afford to make mistakes. And that's what I love about the old gravel traps as opposed to the tarmac runoff areas we find in more recent years to more modern circuits.
Yeah, absolutely. The modern circuits, there are some good modern circuits out there, no doubt about it. But as you say, James, those gravel traps, they really do bite the drivers here at Suzuka. You can't go attacking into a corner and be happy to run wide on the exit around here. You're going to go off the grass and then into the gravel and then perhaps even further than that. So yeah, no doubt about it. It is a circuit that will bite you, as we watch Simon climbing up through that long looping left-hander of Dunlop and into Degna 1 and Degna 2. Now the apex speed through Degna 1, 7th gear in these modern day Formula 1 cars, absolutely incredible. The amount of trust, the amount of faith, the amount of confidence you've got to have in the car underneath you, because it's such a high speed corner on entry, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a really difficult corner to nail as well, because you feel like you always take too much. You can't ever take too much curb on that corner unless, of course, you cut it. But I mean, a lot of drivers you'll just see running most of their car over the curb on entry there. It's just so they can keep the car in a straight line, because we go on about gravel traps. It's right to the left of you as soon as you hit the apex of the exit of that corner. So you've really got to believe in yourself and just throw that car into the curb, hope that you're not cutting it. And then it's the whole down sequence there. You've got to go through the gears. That's a really tough braking zone, because you always feel like you're going to lock up the right front tyre. As Simon's coming across the line now, or is he? He's coming back into the pit lane.
Sliding his way into the pits, wasn't he? No doubt about it. As we see a lot of time still on the board from the super soft runners. I think we might be seeing everyone going for softs here, apart from maybe Snazzy Evening, 26.5 from him on the super softs, but a lot of people going for tentative efforts on the medium as Beefer comes into the pits. Is Milan about to line up a lap? It looks like it. Trail X is out there. Fast Deck 2. But Snazzy Evening, yeah, let's have a quick word actually, James, on Snazzy Evening as we wait for the time to tick by, because it seems like the majority are going for the softs. But let's have a word. He has been a breath of fresh air to the tier. Early stages, people criticised his driving or his internet connection, but he's gone on and won a race. And again in Russia, okay, had an incident with Evo, but has shown strong pace as well as in the race pace, as well as qualifying, hasn't he? Done well.
Yeah, he was in control of the Russian Grand Prix. A vast majority of that race, Snazzy Evening was winning. It was only the latter stage of the race where, I mean, you'll hate me for saying this, but the incident that was there, unfortunately, of course, led him not to win the Grand Prix. I mean, it's a negative point, and we did speak last week about him and me being a bit too critical, perhaps, of how Snaz Evening's performed this season, but it's coming good for him. We've seen good spells, seen really good moments. Pole positions and front row starts have been something that maybe you've become sort of accustomed to with Snazzy Evening. Really has got that one lap pace.
Yep, it really has improved considerably as we are finally seeing the first people head out on track on a set of soft tyres. Melanie is out there at the moment. OMG, it's Joe with nearly 6 minutes to go. Has gone out on a set of super softs. Let's have a look at her actually. Who, of course, if you just joined us, has to he needs to beat Veloci Surprise today if he wants to keep the championship alive. He needs to outscore him by 2 points in this race, or the championship goes to Veloci Surprise. And that's with 5 rounds to go. That just shows you how dominant Veloci Surprise has been. So, OMG, it's Joe. I've seen him tweeting during the week that he really believes that he has got great pace this weekend and he can go out there and win, and he really wants to win. I mean, we've seen just how quick Joe can be. I mean, that little lull back in Singapore where we arrived at a track that he didn't enjoy, but in general, in the second half of the season, James, he has been in fine form, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think most guys in this league as well, it's just the attitude they come in towards a track that's not so good for them. It's just a case of, it's damage limitation. But sometimes you just nail it, and you actually get quite a good result. I mean, Limitless comes to prove that in Hungary, just proving that you can do that kind of thing. If Joe would have done, he had that slight issue in Singapore, but yeah, I mean, he should be confident going into this weekend. If he's that confident that he can really get the job done, he's kind of putting the pressure on himself in many ways, but I think he can do it. I think he can really nail a charge. Maybe a win is going to be, I wouldn't say it's out of his reach. We know he can win races, but he hasn't won a race since Monaco, so does he know that feeling of winning a Grand Prix? Won it on track in Monza, but the penalty, of course, led him to fall behind Eva in the end. So Monaco is Joe's last win, and despite his great form, he hasn't had a win in all that time, which is quite amazing. But this is maybe where he'll come good again. Just let's see what this part of the season is like now then, because it's really come to the end stage of the season. He just wants to prove to people, I am still a really good driver, and we all know that, but he needs to prove that he can still win races against all of these top guys, because Monaco, not all of these top guys were here.
Yeah, incredible how few drivers have had out on the racetrack over the last few minutes. It looks like the majority are going to go for the soft tire, doesn't it, James? But Bastek, thankfully, when Joe came into the pits there, exited the pits. I think Murso's out as well. So both Haas drivers going very early out onto the racetrack. So let's go with TSR Bastek then as he heads down towards the spoon curve, and that's because it's shaped just like a spoon used to scoop up your cereal in the morning. There you go, Bastek through that long looping left of spoon, and now down towards 130R. We've not spoke about this corner yet, surprisingly, James. It is an absolute beast of a corner. Separates the men from the boys flat out. Make a mistake here and you are in big trouble, aren't you?
Oh, it's such a fantastic corner, just how flat you can take a corner. When you look at that corner, you don't ever think that it's going to be oh, yeah, that's definitely not flat out, but these cars just find the limits of grip which no others will. Just so flat through there. And of course we remember overtakes the likes of Alonso and Schumacher all those years, going back in 2005 I believe it was, and my god what a move that was. So let's hope that we can see a similar fate here as Bastek on his, well, I'd say his fast lap here is going to be in a hell of a lot of traffic heading up the S's.
Well, let us know if you're watching who you think is going to be on pole position here in the remaining 2 to 3 minutes of the session. The majority now either choosing between the super soft and the soft. We've got Bastek here. He's the first man on a lap. He's on the super soft tire. Look at the aggression he's got as he goes through Diagonal 1 and 2, pushing to the limit. We've got Snazzy Evening, Dralex. They're going for the super soft. They believe that's the way to go. Murso, Simon, Evo, Leopard, Rosberg, Joe, Limitless Surprise. They're all going for the soft. So the main front runners, apart from Snazzy Evening, feel the soft is the way to go. But we're sticking with TSR Bastek at the moment. Looks like putting a strong lap together here in the Haas car on the ragged edge, pushing to the limit as he heads through Spoon Corner. He might even pick a slight toe up here from the car in front. 2 minutes to go here in qualifying at Suzuka, round number 17 of the ILR1 Xbox season. Will Surprise be champion today? This qualifying session could be going a long way to deciding whether that will be the case. TSR Bastek will be the first man to come round the final corner and put a representative time on the board. Is it enough to go quickest? Yes, it is, by 4 thousandths over Snazzy Evening in second. So, good effort there from Bastek. Let's pick up Murso, who's next across the line, I think.
Yeah, where's Morso? Morso, yeah, he's just coming around Spoon Curve now. Interestingly, though, most of the guys who were in the top 8 in the championship all on those soft tyres. Everyone behind them is all on the super soft tyres, other than Snazzy Evening, all on the super soft tyres, which is quite crazy. We're going to be in for such a weird grid if that's the way it goes forward. But Tyrrell Martin's in a really good position up there in 5th place at the moment. If he can nail this soft lap, we may be in for a big old shock with him on the front row. We haven't seen that for, well, since I believe last season around this circuit. Across the line comes more so. He can't, well, he does improve, but not enough. He's on the softs to a 26.8, goes 3rd quickest at the moment. Is that the sort of benchmark we're looking at then for those soft tyres?
Yeah, Simon crosses the line. He does a 26.6, so he beats Merso by 2 tenths. Is that the benchmark we're waiting on then from Simon? There's a car facing the wrong way in the middle of the road down at Spoon. I never saw who it was. Martin warming up, Melanie on a slow one. Beefers came in. Evo on a quick lap. I think he's just started one, has he? So let's see if we can pick someone further round the lap. Where is Joe? He's quite far round. Limitless is starting his now. Surprise, is he on a quick lap? Is he coming to the end of it? Yes, he is. Veloci Surprise, bidding for the championship today. What's the time? It's enough to go quicker than Simon. It's 3rd on the grid for Veloci Surprise. But where is his championship rival? OMG, it's Joe. He's drifting his way through that final chicane, round the final corner. Can Joe beat Surprise? No, it's only 7th at 27.0, and he is under some serious pressure if he wants to keep the title race alive. Where is CRG Evo? Here he is, going down towards 130R. The McLaren driver flying through there now and down towards the final couple of corners. He's going to bounce across the curbs, down at the chicane, and then run towards the line, past the Ferris wheel on the left-hand side. Here comes Evo. Is he quicker? It's a 26.9, just a fraction quicker than Joe. Surely he would have expected better.
Joe's gone for a second run. Yeah, sorry, Joe's gone for a second run on those soft tyres, so he may not be over in this qualifying session yet, but watch out for the likes of Leopard, Rosberg and Martin.
Yeah, Martin, let's keep an eye on him. Leopard's a little bit further round, so we'll stick with LCR Leopard. A really topsy-turvy session. Leopard at the moment on the soft compound tyre. The Toro Rosso driver heading towards the end of the lap. 14th at the moment. It has to happen for him here. Martin's going to be behind him on a lap as well. We'll go to TRL Martin in a moment. But this is LCR Leopard riding over the curbs and coming towards the line. He's currently P14. Is this enough to improve? It should be. Only to P10 though. What about Martin going for the line? Is it a big improvement for him? Yes, there is. Up into the top 6 for TRL Martin. That is a net P3 against the soft runners. And he must be absolutely delighted with that, James. As Joe beats him though with a 26.7.
Yeah, I mean, he'll still be quite happy with 7th on the grid. I mean, P4, net P4 on those soft compounds of tyre. This is going to be so interesting, this Grand Prix. So many different variables as we head into it then. But Snazzy Evening ahead of Baztec on the front row. I said it would be a little bit jumbled up, but we didn't expect Baztec to be on the front row of the grid.
Yep, we did not. It's Snazzy Evening on pole with that soft tyre, super soft tyre run. Will that pay dividends? Will it work for him? That's the big question. Will the super softs be the way to go? We said it might create a topsy-turvy grid, and it sure has. It really has, hasn't it, James? Snazzy Evening, 26.0, miles quicker than anyone else by half a second, of course. The majority of the field going for the soft compound tyre. But a nightmare for JD as well there. Didn't get a time on the board. But let's have a quick look at the final results of that qualifying session. But yes, Snazzy Evening doing a really good job to put that car on pole position. A 26.0, there it is, ahead of Bastek in second, 4.5 tenths behind him he was with P2. But then your kind of virtual pole, if you want to go for the soft tyres, the soft tyre pole, Veloci Surprise in third, doing all he needs to do if he wants to win the championship today. CRG Simon is in P4. VSR Drelix, P5 for him. He'll be disappointed not to have beaten the soft runners. It's P6 for OMG, it's Joe. Tyrrell Martin, got to be satisfied with that. P7 for him. WOR Morso is 9th. CRG Evo, poor performance for him by his standards. He's 9th. And EVR Reynolds completes the top 10 on the grid. A few people asking where they can see the championship standings. It might be too complicated for me to give for that to happen. So I'm going to give you them myself. If I can just get them up in a moment. It's on the ILR League form if you want to find them. But I'll read them to you right now as we await the formation lap. Veloci Surprise is the championship leader with 5 races to go. He's got 309 points. He is 101 points ahead of second place, OMG It's Joe. He is on 208 points. Third position in the championship, VSR Simon. He's on 175. Then in fourth, it's Veloci Limitless with 165. His teammate TRL Martin is 5th with 106 points. P6 is TR Murso, and he is on 94 points. P7 is Snazzy Evening, and he is on 71. P8 is Evo with 80. P9 is Reynolds with 68, and P10 is Jock with 44. That is your top 10 in the driver standings. If you go into the www.ilrleague.com/forum, you should find the standings on there. If you browse around, look for the Xbox tier, if anyone wants to know. But the bottom line is, at the moment, going into this race, there's 125 points available. At the end of this race, there will only be 100 available. So OMGH Joe needs to get the gap under 100 points to his great rival Veloci Surprise. It's 101 right now, so he needs to outscore him by 2. But James, at the moment, looking at the grid, it's going to be an uphill challenge for Joe, isn't it?
It's going to be a tough old test, this one. It really is. It's not a track really you can make many overtakes around. There's a few spots that you can do it, but it's going to be so difficult for him. He's going to have to make some big old overtakes as this Grand Prix progresses. And I mean, the season that Surprise has had, it would only be suitable if he could win it in this kind of fashion as well. But turn 1, it's not the longest run towards turn 1, but it's flat on entry. You want to be braking though, because turn 2 creeps up on you so quickly. We've seen carnage there in the past. But it is a circuit. Well, we may see a bit of an incident pack lap 1. There's plenty, as I say, of gravel traps around here, and that's probably what could pay dividends as they head through the first few corners.
Yep, absolutely. Unfortunately, I think we have a broken lobby here, folks. I'm not 100% sure, but Langman... Oh, I tell a lie. Here we go. Thank goodness for that. I thought we were about to have a little bit of an issue there, but that is not the case. As soon as I say it, the game listens to me, and not often it does that, James, is it? Very often we get frustrated with the game, but on this occasion it was listening to us, so there we go. But yes, let's have a look then. For 27 laps ahead of us around this Suzuka circuit, one of the legendary circuits, right up there with the likes of Spa, the likes of Monza, Silverstone, Monaco. It's certainly in my top 5. Is it in yours as well, James?
Oh, I absolutely love this circuit. To be honest, I love to drive it as well. It's just really such a testing circuit, Suzuka. And it is an ever-present and ever-great in this Formula 1 calendar, and it has been for so many years now. And it's only right, I think, that a championship gets decided here. We've seen Schumacher get decided championships here. But of course, we had the famous Damon Hill championship, which got decided here. And we've seen many a good race in the past by Kimi Räikkönen. And we've also seen Sebastian Vettel win championships here as well. So plenty of guys have won it around this circuit. Surprise will be the very second in ILR Xbox. Only second, a second different championship winner to a Danny M7 last season.
Yeah, well, it was a fantastic finale to the season last year. If you remember, guys, a three-way fight at the final race. Whoever won the race was going to be champion between Martin, Danny M7 and TOR Leopard. But they have fallen away this year, and Veloci Surprise has taken full control of this championship. And it's a matter of when he wins it rather than if he wins it. It would take a massive catastrophe for him not to win it from this point on. But of course, if he wants to win it today, he just has to outscore OMGH Joe by 2 World Championship points. So it should be a cracker. Are we going to have a lump in our throats by the end of this race? It's Japan, it's a title decider, why not? Keep an eye on it. Snazzy Evening, remember, he is on pole position. TSR Base Bastek is alongside him in P2. They're both on the super soft tyres. Then the soft pole position, if you want to call it that. Veloci Surprise in 3rd, with CRG Simon in 4th. The super softs for Drelex in 5th. OMGH Joe 6th. TRL Martin is 7th, Murso is 8th, Evo is 9th, and Reynolds is 10th. Then the guys that get fresh tyre choice, they're all going for the softs. That's Leopard, Melanie, Beefer, Langman, Rosberg, and Limitless, who did not get a time on the board, so he'll be looking to make up for lost time as well as the cars line up on the grid for what should be another thriller. It is round number 17 of the ILR1 season. Will a World Championship be decided today? Veloci Surprise simply needs to outscore OMGH Joe by 2 World Championship points, and he will become the World Champion in ILR Xbox in its 2nd season. Here they are, they're on the grid, and it's about to go live. Snazzy Evening on pole, Bastek alongside as Charlie Whiting flicks the switch. Here come the lights here at Suzuka. Snazzy Evening, can he win for the 2nd time this year? Will Surprise be champion? We'll find out as the 5 red lights go out and we are racing at Suzuka. on the run down to turn one. It's a good start from Snazzy Evening. He looks like he'll hold his lead down there. Going round the outside. Veloci surprise on Bastek. Will he get that move done? It's crucial for his championship. He can't quite do it. And Bastek holds the line as they all funnel their way up through the S's on this opening lap. But it's as you were at the front. Snazzy Evening, Bastek. Then it's Veloci surprise, who is really starting to hassle the back of Bastek already on this opening lap. Will he go aggressive? Will he stay and keep it calm on the opening few laps? What do you think, James?
Well, he may just think about what he's doing here, because he doesn't really need to race this car ahead of him. Of course, they're on completely different strategies, and that's what's crucial. But another absolutely sensational getaway from the Ferrari of GSJ. He's already up into P5 from where he started P7 on the grid. It's up P6 on the grid. So it's a good start from him. He gets ahead of Drelix, and that's crucial because he's now right behind Simon, who is on the same strategy as him. Good start from Snazzy Evening as well, but Baztek really holding his own through turn 1 and 2.
Yep, absolutely. A good start for Leopard. He's gained 3 places. CRL Rosberg is also up 3 positions. And I think TRL Limitless has gained a place for once on the opening lap. Not usually something he finds doing. But of course, when you start last, you can only gain places, you can't lose them. And Limitless is up ahead of Langman up into P15 as we ride on board with OMG It's Joe right up the back of CRG Simon. Can he do anything about him on this opening lap? As they go on to the lap number 2, it's still Snazzy Evening out in the lead out front. He's opened up a 7/10 advantage as he tries to break that DRS to Bastek in second, then Veloci surprise in third with Simon in fourth. Joe, as you mentioned, James, crucially getting ahead of Drelix. Martin will be looking to do the same as well, because this has got to be as competitive as we've seen Martin at the start of a race for quite some time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good start from Tyrrell Martin as well, really proving what he's worth in that Red Bull. He's had really good results recently, the podium in Singapore, of course, which means he's looking good, and he just needs to keep a good firm grip on the guys who are technically top 3, if you will, on those soft tyres. Well, Snaz even starting to pull away. He's just about a second or so in front of Baztek, but this is what I mean. It's the devil's just a real pain for a surprise. Does he really have to go for this move? Will he think about going for this move, or will he just sit back? Will he just absorb the pressure from CRG Simon and Joe behind, because Joe's going to be in a fight here. We know how much he wants to win this Grand Prix, and he needs to get ahead of these two in this Grand Prix as well. It's such a crucial race, this one, and Joe really will have to pull out all the stops to beat those two ahead of him.
Big mention to LCR Leopard, by the way, who was the first runner in the field that had fresh tyres, so he's got the freshest tyres of all out there in the top 8. He's up to 8th. He gained 3 places off the start, and he's ahead of Evo as well. So it won't be easy for Evo to get back ahead of Leopard, given he's on the freshest tyres of everyone. So things going really well for him as Drelix is locked up down at the final chicane. That's got Martin right on his case now, as well as Leopard, as well as Evo, as they all go charging across the start-finish line. Is this an opportunity for Martin to get that move done in Drelix? He needs to do it soon if he wants to challenge at the front. And here comes TRL Martin up the inside into turn 1. There's light contact between the pair, but Martin surely now is through and up into P6. He squeezes himself ahead of Drelix, and the Canadian drops down into P7. A vital move for Martin. He's already lost a second to Joe, but I don't think it's a decisive second loss. He will surely get back into that battle, James.
Yeah, I mean, the gap that he's got between himself and Joe just allows his tyres to cool down that little bit more, but it's a stunning move from Martin into turn 1, taking no prisoners into the first corner there, and that's a great move. And someone's gone off down at the S's. I think that was Reynolds at Dunlop, who's lost a lot of his front wing, so he's going to be falling all the way to the back of the field.
Yeah, not good at all for EVR Reynolds. He drops right down to the back. We're going to have to pick up the action further to the front. Let's see if we can pick up LCR Leopard and CRG Evo. They look really close together. Will Drelix show any signs of moving aside for his teammate? Is the soft tyre the quicker strategy? We did discuss in qualifying, James, that there isn't much between the two strategies, is there? So will Drelix decide, no, I'm not letting Leopard go. I'm quite happy with this strategy at the moment. But look, Drelix isn't too far off Martin. He's clinging to him. And Martin is now 1.1 behind Joe. He can't afford to let Drelix come back on him. He needs to stick with that battle in front. And much like I saw in Russia last week, it seems that the field is quite evenly matched in the top 10 cars, isn't it?
Yeah, surprised he's going for a move on Baztek, though. He's side by side with him down the main straight, and it looks like the Williams has got the better of the Haas. And a simple DRS move. Baztek was getting so flustered coming out the back end of the chicane there. It just cost him so much time, and now surprise finds himself a position ahead again. He's P2, and that was so easy for the Williams, and he is on his way to his first ILR championship.
Well, things going to plan very early on for Surprise, getting that great lap done in qualifying. He's barely put a foot wrong in ILR this season, and he's proving again just how quick, how strong he is. Can Simon get ahead of Bastic? Can Joe get ahead of Bastic and keep the pressure on? But crucially, Snazzy Evening is still the leader on those super soft tyres. Can he make that strategy work? That's the big question. But Surprise, I fear already, is beginning to close the gap. But we know that Snazzy is no slouch. He's not one to get embroiled in a fierce battle with, because he can be aggressive. So Surprise will need to just hold his guard and wait for the moment, because that's what he can't afford to do, winning this championship. Get into an incident that he doesn't need to be involved in. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. But something I pointed out now is those super soft tyres are falling off the edge. The cliff on that house of Baztek. He's really losing time to Simon, who's almost all over the back of him as they head into 130R. Surely won't be close enough to go through and move through there. With the chicane that follows, he may be later on the brakes. He's got to decide inside or outside. Goes to the inside. They're side by side into the chicane. Simon down the inside. Looks like he's got the move done as either has to go off the road. And looks like Joe will join the fray as well. They could be nearly 3 wide coming down the main straight here.
Yeah, they really could be. That was aggressive from Simon, bordering on unfair in my opinion. Joe, meanwhile, was all over the place through 130R in the dirty air. He nearly went off into the barrier, but they both find a way through on Bastek. Whether Simon did it fairly or not, that could be one to the stewards later on. Simon through at the Casio Triangle. Joe then through on the pit straight. They're up into 3rd and 4th on the racetrack, but look at the gap. That's the key. 2 seconds between Surprise and Simon. You've got to feel, if Simon and Joe want a chance in this race, it's going to have to come from Snazzy Evening holding up Surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, they really are going to have to hope that Mercedes can just keep his door in the way, almost as a brick wall he's got to put out there to allow everyone else to start to close up, because 2 seconds is monumental gap between those top two. At the moment he's getting so close, Surprise, to the back of the Mercedes. It's going to be a matter of time. It could even be 130R.
Yes, I don't know what was going on there with Snazzy Evening going through that corner, but he was going very slowly through the apex, trying to park it perhaps, and now Veloci Surprise is right behind him, and surely it's a matter of when he overtakes him, not if he overtakes him. And here comes Veloci Surprise, the Welshman, into position. Well, he's a championship leader. He's looking to win it today. Will he become the race leader in a few moments' time? He's right up behind Snazzy Evening. The gap already down to 1.5. Is he allowing Simon and Joe back into the fray? Still Snazzy Evening holds his lead. A little lock-up from Snazzy. Surprise, though, will surely get the better exit out the corner. Indeed he does. And Snazzy's bailing for the pits already. So there you go. And across the line comes Surprise. He picks up the DRS as well and is now the race leader, ahead of Simon in 2nd and Joe in 3rd. But we're about to find out, James, just how quick these guys are in clean air. Can Simon and Joe close the gap to Surprise?
Oh, Martin's round the outside of Baztek into turn 2. There's a Toro Rosso in there as well. It's kicking off all behind here, and Martin gets the move done on the house of Baztek. Brilliant move again from the Red Bull, and look at the train of cars that are sat behind that Red Bull. It's absolutely crazy stuff.
Wow, Baztek, Leopard, Evo, Merso, Dralex, they're all there. Limitless 2 actually at the tail of the train, all in this battle for position as Leopard had a little think of it going up the inside. And Bastek loses the rear end, and that's going to allow Evo into position to surely attack into the hairpin. CRG Evo up the inside into the hairpin on Leopard. Has he got the traction out of the corner? No, he's not. Leopard finds an incredible slingshot coming out of the hairpin to hold on to P6. For all the world, I thought Evo had taken that position away, but no, Leopard, the fighter that he is, fierce as he can get, takes the position back. All that talk about Leopard being Evo's dog, throw it out the window. He's not, and he's up into P6 as LCR Leopard. But here we go, onto the tail of Bastek now, who's been defending like crazy. Round the outside, Alonso Schumacher-esque here, not quite from Leopard. What about down into the chicane? Will he send it? Yes, he will. Up the inside of Bastek. Bastek gives him the squeeze, but Leopard is surely going to find a way around the outside. He does, and is through as Evo also scampers past, and Bastek dives to the pits. Unsurprisingly, we've got a virtual safety car, and I believe that's because Reynolds is out.
That's unusual. That's the first safety car we've had all season, Andy.
Well, hold on a minute, James. Bastek is going to be in a phenomenal position here. What a position. Bastek's in the pits during the virtual safety car. Bastek is going to be in an incredible position here. He pitted right on the virtual safety car. He's fitted the medium tyres, and surely he's going to be in a great position now in this race. No, he's still behind Snazzy, interestingly. But he's gained time. Surely he's gained time from that.
He's going to have gained time, surely. Yeah, he's not going to be that far off the podium. That podium mix is going to be so close, like it was in the Russian Grand Prix. You weren't here to see it, but it was very close throughout the pit stop phase, and we're exactly seeing here the virtual safety car could play havoc in this Japanese Grand Prix. The first virtual safety car we've had all season. It's quite incredible. It's actually spicing up a race. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, and that's what it's good to see. And we're back racing again around Japan, and Joe's all over the back of Simon as they head into Spoon Curve.
Wow, incredible. Simon getting a little bit slidey there as well. It looks like to me Simon's not got the heat in the tyres, and Joe has got plenty of heat in his, and he's tucked right up behind the McLaren driver as they run down a 130R. He needs to do this for the championship. He's going round the outside as OMG, it's Joe. Simon's going to lose it. He's losing it. Oh my goodness me, he's nearly in the wall. But Joe ties up the inside, incredibly keeps his foot in, even with Simon sliding. He put trust in Simon saving it. Simon did save it, but Joe went through with a brave move down the inside. But Simon ain't finished. He's coming back for more down towards turn 1. Round the outside he goes with the overspeed, back up into P2. What a battle between these two. This is James. Brilliant.
I could barely watch that as he made the move into 130. I was all over the place. How he kept that in a straight line is absolutely incredible. How he kept that all together. Remember Baku where he lost it going in a straight line? He damn well nearly did again through 130R. It was absolutely incredible driving from Simon. How he kept that all together. Unbelievable. My heart in my mouth and everything. It was absolutely incredible from Simon.
Unbelievable. But what it's doing is allowing Surprise to scamper off into the distance. He's 3 seconds up the road now from this duo. It really isn't helping their cause. Martin, meanwhile, ain't falling away from them. He's having a fine race, TRL Martin, today. Right behind them, 1.1 adrift, ahead of Evo by 2.1 seconds. Then Leopard, who is finally being dropped by Evo in this Grand Prix. Murso's next, then Limitless on the recovery drive at the moment. But Snazzy Evening and Bastek at the moment could well be your net leaders 1 and 2 when these pit stops come around. I really think they will. I'm going to quickly change the gap to the leader. Snazzy Evening is 21.5 seconds off the lead. Bastek is 24 off the lead. I don't know what the delta time is here, but surely they're going to be in with a chance of going back 1 and 2 in this race. As we watch Limitless line up a move on Murso into the final chicane. Can't quite do it. He stays P8 for now, but he's going to have a good run, I think, coming out of the final corner. Yes, he is, as Evo sets a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But here comes Limitless, and he's going to cruise past with the DRS wide open up the inside, and he's easily through by the time they reach turn 1. So lovely move there as Melanie, battling in behind that with Drelex, and the Melon Muncher throws it up the inside, takes 9th place away from the Canadian driver, who drops down into P10. So a few good battles going on throughout the field. Beefer's in there as well. So on the fringes of the points, there's action going on as well, James.
Yeah, loads of action going on down there, but there was a stat that I brought to you before the race, and it was the top 8 of this championship have all finished on the podium at least once this season. Everyone below them hasn't. The best placed car in that scenario was a 4th place finish for Reynolds very early on in the season. I believe it was Baku when he got that 4th place finish, and he's out the race, so he won't be getting any further action in this one. But yeah, we haven't seen the vast variety, if you will, of those guys beneath the top 8 just getting that podium. But 8 drivers on a podium in a season isn't a bad way to get this season all done and dusted, and there could still be more with the likes of Veloce Alonso joining the fray again.
Yep, absolutely. The likes of Veloce Alonso joining, Danny M7, our former champion, as well as Drelex slides wide. It really is the top tier in Xbox at the moment, this ILR1 league, no doubt about it. It's the most entertaining as well, as we watch Beefer go round the outside, and Drelex let him go there actually, and he's up into P10. So some big action there as Joe has made an early call, a massive undercut, and into the pits he comes. Now, the big question is, where is he going to be in relation to Snazzy and Bastek? If he's a long way behind, it looks quite good for Snazzy and Bastek, doesn't it?
Yeah, it will be really good. It'll be so close on the edge of the pit lane as well. Snazzy's coming around the final corner. It's going to be close as hell between Joe and Snazzy, and I think Snazzy's got him. He has got him. That's interesting. Will Bastek get him as well? He has as well. Goodness me. As he's lost out a fair bit there. So that virtual safety car really proving its worth for Bastek and Snazzy Evening there.
Well, Bastek really is threatening here to be in the top 3. By the looks of it, and he might have a chance to hold on to that top 3 place with the result of that safety car. What a position he might be in, but of course he's going to have older tyres. It will be one to watch, but can OMG, it's Joe, get those medium tyres working to help cut that gap down to the likes of Surprise and Simon over the course of the stops. I tell you what, how close is Surprise going to be to Snazzy Evening at the pit stops? That is going to be very close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 seconds. The gap was about that between Joe and Surprise, so yeah, it'll be quite close between those two, but let's just see when Surprise decides to pit, of course, because every time he stays out on that set of tyres, like just Snazzy and Baztec, they're going to be closing in because they've got fresher tyres. It's as simple as that. And Surprise stays out for another lap. Will Simon decide to bail off into the pits? He does. So this is where the race could be turned on its head. Martin joins me in the pits as well, and he's got a penalty, Simon, for speeding in the pit lane.
Well, that's been a problem for Simon. Consistency at times this season. Also coming in was Leopard 2. So they're all coming in, those soft runners, except Evo, Surprise and TRL Limitless. They've all carried on. Beefer as well. Murso, all carrying on. So how much longer into the race do they believe they can go? We're on lap 11 now out of 27. It's been a fantastic race. A Snazzy Evening has emerged well ahead of Simon. Baztec is right close to Simon. Not close enough to get ahead of him, but he's got more heat in the tyres. So will Baztec be able to get the move done in Simon? It doesn't look like it. Simon should get some heat in his tyres going through the S's, and that podium hope for Baztec might be disappearing. But look at the gap between Snazzy and Simon. It's 3.4 seconds. That's what the gap was between Simon and Surprise. Goodness me, Snazzy and Surprise are going to be so close, and it's going to be brilliant to watch, isn't it?
They could literally be banging wheels into turn one. It'll be Raikkonen and Alonso all over again. And that's how close it is. It's unbelievable how close those two are on circuit. If it all goes to plan, of course. We're just playing as the times go flying by. But let's see just how close that will be between the Mercedes and the Williams. Can we see a big old scrap for the race win once again in ILR and around Japan? That'll be a great place to do it, and especially the circumstances we find ourselves in.
Absolutely. As we watch OMG, it's Joe in P9. How must he feel right now? As Veloci Surprise has made the call. He's peeled into the pits. I want to watch him. Evo's in as well, but I'm not going to him now. I need to keep an eye on this battle. Joe must be infuriated, stuck behind this pair. He needs to get after Surprise to keep this championship alive. He's going down the inside of Baztec into the final chicane. It's slight contact with Baztec's car, but he can't get the move done. It's now time to go up to the race lead. Where is the race leader? So there's Snazzy Evening. He's got Surprise ahead of him. So there you go. It's all going to plan for the World Championship leader, who now has the net lead, and with 15 laps to go, is surely cruising on his way to the World Championship. Joe moves up ahead of Baztec into P4, but surely now, that is it. Veloci Surprise is on his way to his first title in ILR1, James. Surely now.
Surely, he can't afford to throw it off the road, though. He can't afford to get a penalty. There's still so many factors around this circuit, as well as obviously the in-game scenarios that we find ourselves in terms of the penalties, etc. And that's what will play its part in this Grand Prix. I still think there's more to give, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to challenge him at the moment. He looks in fine form, does Veloci Surprise, and he may well be cruising to a first championship in ILR, which would be some achievement. Just down to his dominance at points in this season as well. He's been incredible to watch.
Has this been Veloci Surprise's best performance of the season so far? Perhaps. It's been up there. I mean, he has really taken this race by the scruff of the neck, and that is in a really competitive field today. Just in case you weren't aware of how competitive, CRG Evo was in P7 at the moment. That just shows you how strong a performance this has been today from Veloci Surprise, the rising star and soon to be crowned ILR1 Xbox World Champion for the year. What a drive it's been. There is absolutely no doubt about it. It's not done yet. Penalties are a factor. That can at times be a weakness of Veloci Surprise, can't it, James? So penalties, and will we see any from him today?
Yeah, Martin's down the inside as well into turn one against Baztec. Sorry, they're side by side into the first corner, and Martin looks to have got it done, has got it done, forces the Haas wide. But going back to your point, Andy, yeah, it was the penalties have become a factor this season, but also disconnects. We've seen a couple of disconnects from Surprise this season, and of course this time last season, the man who just made that overtake became accustomed to that himself, didn't he, Martin? Getting those disconnects at the point of which we didn't really need to lose all that championship gap, and that's what made it the three-way scrap it was in the end. But hopefully lightning doesn't strike twice, and we do see the champion today.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. That was a big turning point as LCR Leopard picks up a 3-second time penalty. We could see a few of those over the course of the remaining laps in this Grand Prix. But yeah, absolutely. Not at all what Martin wanted. It was a really unfortunate season. He should have won the first season of ILR, no doubt about it. Now he was the man that was going to win it. Twice it looked in his grasp. Once in Japan when he disconnected from the Grand Prix, and then again, if you remember, in Brazil where he got the puncture, one lap away from being crowned the champion. As we watch CRG Evil gaining on the back of TSR Bastek, unable to make a move going through 130R, but Bastek with the older tyres looks like he's struggling against his competitors. Snazzy Evening though, to be fair, still holding on quite well in P2 compared to Bastek, so showing some real quality there out front is Snazzy. But here comes CRG Evo, and that is candy from a baby. Easy stuff for Evo. Up into P6 now. Bastek, who has put in a good performance here today so far, is slowly slipping down, and it looks like he will get a few points for his efforts today, but no more than that. And it's a bit of a shame for him because he'd been going so strong earlier on.
Bastek has, well, this race, this season, when he's made his when he made his debut in ILR this season around at Monza, we were so surprised as to where he finished. He finished P5 that day, and he's just proven so good, such good pace at times in that Haas. That Haas car, just in both senses of the word, when Holland was in the car, and more so as well, they've got podiums, those two respectively. And of course, you've got to remember the likes of, it's just, it could still come for Bastek, that podium this season, but I mean, it would be some achievement if he got it, because there is so many quick cars. No disregard to Bastek, but it's going to be so difficult for anyone to get a podium this season, and to be a debutant on a podium would be some achievement if he could manage it in the next 4 races or so.
Yep, absolutely. He has been a fine addition to the tier. Of course, VSR Holland, his TV broke and blew up in spectacular fashion, so that's what put him on the sidelines, and Bastek's come in, and like Murso, very evenly matched the pair, and just the same as what it was like with Holland and Murso, wasn't it? A very steady driver who picks up points almost every race, very consistent, and doing a really strong job as Bastek. But let's keep an eye here on OMG It's Joe. He's making another attempt at getting onto the tail of Simon and perhaps making a move. Do you think we're going to see OMG It's Joe on the podium this afternoon? Does he look like he's got the pace to get ahead of CRG Simon? It certainly looks like he does. He's gaining and gaining, but Simon though is picking up the DRS to Snazzy pretty soon, so that might keep him ahead for a little longer.
Yeah, it will, and it's just, as we said before the race, not an easy place to make overtakes to Suzuka Circuit. You've got to be brave when you go for overtakes around here. You've really got to find your time. You've got to find the space. You've got to size your moves up, because it's such a fast circuit in general. You just got to time your moves to absolute perfection. And 130R, Joe's barely hitting 8th gear. He barely touches 8th gear. He may here, but he just doesn't ever want to touch that 8th gear. Let's see if he does through Spoon Curve. No, he keeps it in 7th gear. He hasn't touched 8th gear this Grand Prix, OMG It's Joe, and he said that to me before the race. He's just going to keep it in 7th. Pointless using the 8th gear was his words, and that may be the case as this race progresses. Simon is starting to close up, as you say, just now's the evening in P2.
Yep, should be a move coming pretty soon from Simon, and Snazzy's done well to cling on a little better than Bastek did with his tyre life, but pretty soon these guys are a lot quicker now on the fresher compound, and as the laps tick by it should get tougher for Snazzy. But here comes Simon, he's in the toe now, and Snazzy Evening is under a little bit of pressure. Simon's going to go down the outside of him into turn 1, good defensive driving from Snazzy. He's going to make Simon work for it, but Simon works it out and goes right round the outside with a daring move into turn 1, and he takes the place away from Snazzy Evening. Snazzy did his best, James, but that was beautiful, classy driving from Simon.
There's classy drive from the both of them, to be fair. The defence was brilliant. He just couldn't put up enough, and that was just such a good move again around the outside from Simon. Just didn't leave it a chance and just went straight around the outside and did a brilliant move from the McLaren. And it's just what we've become accustomed to with Simon over the course of this season. Just brilliant overtakes and moments like that as well. Great racecraft between the two of them. It's not over yet though. That gap it's not falling away from Snazzy Evening. He does need to get a move on though, because that Ferrari, his wing mirrors are getting filled by the scarlet red of that Ferrari of OMG It's Joe.
Yep, OMG It's Joe now right there, isn't he? He's going to make that move pretty soon. A frustrating afternoon for Joe. He has showing some great pace, but I think his qualifying has derailed him a little bit. Much can be said the same about CRG Evo, to be honest. He's failed to make the progress he would maybe have hoped as well. So here comes OMG It's Joe onto the back of Snazzy Evening. Is he going to be able to make that move? Not at the moment. He's been looking at the back of cars quite a lot during this Grand Prix, and he's looking at the back of one again. He tried and failed to make a way through on Simon earlier on. Can he now get this move done on Snazzy down into turn one? Will he do exactly what CRG Simon did? Doesn't look like he's close enough into turn one, and he's going to have to sit behind for even longer, James, isn't he?
I feel like that 8th gear would help him there, though. I really do. I think it would just give him that drive coming off a corner. And he's just not using the 8th gear. I mean, the straights aren't massive, and you just really extend the gear ratios here. Goodness me, there's a bit of lag there. But, yeah, just needs to use that 8th gear down those straights, I think, Joe. I think that's what may get him the move against Snazzy. I think the fear of him, though, is just bogging down. He doesn't want to bog down behind that Mercedes. Exactly why he's just using that 7th gear, just to hold the gap between himself and another car. And Morso has retired from the Grand Prix. Now, where is that? Looks like Dunlop Curve. He's gone right
Dunlop.
off at Dunlop. Massive.
Yeah, how did he manage that? How has he managed that? Interesting then. How he could possibly have managed that. But yeah, out of the race goes Morso. And I was just speaking about how the two Haas drivers are so consistent. And all of a sudden, one of them is off in the barrier down at Dunlop. So, not too sure what's happened there to WOR Morso, but he is Grand Prix as...
Yeah, Joe's closing in. Let's go for it. Yeah.
Yep, here he comes. OMG, it's Joe onto the tail of Snazzy Evening. He's going down the outside of Snazzy. Interesting decision there. Snazzy, though, breaks a lot later, gets onto the apex really well, and Joe might have been hoping to cut back on the exit there, but Snazzy was so strong going through that chicane. It won't be as easy as you would have hoped, but look at the overspeed that Joe's got, and Snazzy almost waves him by, and Joe moves up into P3. Next up for him is Simon, but can he finally get that move done on the car ahead? I'm not too sure. I think the top three look pretty secure in their positions at the moment. Yeah, James, I'm sure you'll agree, and it's all about how much further Snazzy drops down the order.
Yeah, it will be, and he's just going to play. It's a bit of a moving chicane now for the likes of Martin and Evo behind him. Evo's starting to come into his own once again in this Grand Prix. I don't think his chances of a podium are completely gone, nor for the Red Bull of Martin as well, but that was just easy, wasn't it? The overspeed you get coming off of the exit of that of the final corner is quite crazy. Martin's got a penalty, which isn't what we want to see.
Yep, that's a shame for Tyrrell Martin. Has driven a great race at the sharp end of the action, showing the kind of form he would have liked to have all throughout the season. It might have rewarded him with a race win at some point over the course of the season. His performances have been strong at times, flashes of brilliance, but nowhere near the level he would like on a consistent basis. As he now gets onto the tail of Snazzy Evening, half a second away, and should be able to take P4, but he's going to have to be careful because Evo is right there as well. He wants to get ahead of Snazzy before Evo gets a bite at him, and Martin was a little bit wide there going through 130R, and Evo might fancy his chances. Snazzy Evening's just unlucky for him, dropped out of the DRS of Joe in front, so this is going to give Martin the extra confidence he wants to get attacking after Snazzy Evening going down towards turn one. Look how much he's gaining already on the back of that Mercedes, and surely on this lap Martin will be thinking about passing to get himself up into the top four. Interestingly, Joe isn't scampering away from Martin and Evo in the way he would maybe have liked to. We know that Joe sometimes struggles over the course of the entire stint on his tyres, so maybe Martin and Evo still fancy a shot at the podium, but they need to get ahead of Snazzy pretty quickly indeed. As well as that, Bastic being caught by Limitless too for 7th position, so that could be one to watch. Limitless going to keep his foot down, try and get ahead of Bastic, and maybe Snazzy if he falls away later on too, as Martin continues to close on the back of that Mercedes. Nearly has a look up the inside into the hairpin, but thinks better of it. Now, exiting here and going through this long sweeping right-hander and down towards Spoon Curve, is Martin going to have a look here up the inside to Spoon? We know what happened when Vettel tried it, didn't work out well for him, and no, he thinks better of it, remains tucked up in behind Snazzy Evening for now, and Evo is now right there. He's picking up a good toll on TRL Martin as well, so Evo moving closer and closer. You have to feel if Martin's going to do it, it needs to be on this lap, because Evo is gaining and gaining and gaining. Look at Evo, look at Martin, they're all shadowing in behind Snazzy, and Snazzy still holds on to that position. Great defensive driving from Snazzy, and he's opened up a little bit of a cushion on TRL Martin now. Evo gaining and gaining as they cross the line to start lap number 20. Still Snazzy defending well, and I think he'll defend again into turn one, James.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, lag may be helping his cause here because Martin seems to be lifting off the throttle when he sees the car just going really close to his front wing. But Martin is just doing everything he can do. He just can't do much more than this in that Red Bull, other than past the Mercedes car. It's not as easy as it sounds, though. But so we know all these guys, and you'll like to see it. Let's see what Evo can do in behind as well. He just couldn't get the run either because of Martin's DRS and the toe that Martin had on the back of Snazzy Evening. It could just be a concertina effect, this one, and just how hard will Snazzy Evening defend against these two behind him, who are miles quicker at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just interestingly that Joe is not breaking away, quickly at all. 1.4 is all he is ahead of Snazzy. Martin and Evo know if they get ahead, they've got a chance to get on the move on here. And here comes Martin now, sweeping around the outside into Spoon. Huge overspeed, and he's through and up into P4. Snazzy down to P5, and he's passed him in a crucial area of the track, and maybe has left Evo trailing in his wake. But Snazzy ain't getting up on it yet. He's going to pick up a big toe here at Snazzy Evening, and he's gaining again back on Terrell Martin. He's actually close enough here to maybe have a move again into the chicane. No, but maybe not. Martin's holding on, and it's all about whether he can defend from CRG Evo now. Surely Snazzy won't be able to come back at Martin. He has got a good run though. He's got a great run, and Martin has to defend to the pit wall here. Incredibly, Snazzy Evening able to fight back on Martin. He's going round the outside into turn one, squeezed up against the grass. It's Snazzy Evening, but Martin climbs on, and now he's got the clean air to try and break away and get after Joe, which is actually 3.5 seconds, not 1.4 seconds. So there you go. Can Martin close that gap on Joe?
I'll tell you what, Martin has really put in an overtaking masterclass around Suzuka. Every place that you could think of to make an overtake round here, he must have made an overtake here at that specific corner at a certain point in this Grand Prix. He's been so good at making those overtakes today, Martin. Really on it as per usual, as you'd expect, but they have been phenomenal moves. I think every time he's nailed it. Spoon curve, that is literally the only place you can get that car absolutely right to get it round the outside on that left-hand corner there, and he's absolutely nailing this race of Terrell Martin. I don't think it'll be enough though to warrant a podium because of his penalties, of course, but Evo is starting to close up to Snazzy Evening ahead of him. Let's just see where he decides to make this overtake. Takes a lot of curb on the exit of Spoon, and then you've got that big old run. There's a lot of curb you have to take on the exit as well as they head down towards 130R. Will Evo get the run that he wants into 130R? Will go one way, then another. Will it go to the inside? Will it go to the outside? Snazzy Evening moves slightly there, but keeps it all together. It's okay. It's good racing between the two of them, and Evo has to stay behind until that very, very powerful DRS zone.
Problem he's got though, Evo, is that Martin isn't dropping out the DRS to Snazzy. Would it be a tactical... Oh, actually no, I was going to suggest that maybe Martin could just stay ahead of Snazzy to protect himself from Evo, just stay ahead of him in the DRS, but problem is he's got a 3-second time penalty, Martin, so he can't. He has to break away from him, doesn't he? So, yeah, while it would maybe help him protect him from Evo by giving Snazzy DRS, the problem is he's got a 3-second time penalty, so it won't really help him at all. So Martin really does need to get the foot down and break out a 3-second advantage. Meanwhile, up front, we've not spoke about him for a while. In fact, no, let's not go up front. Let's go to TRL Limitless. Not Veloci, TRL now. He's gone back to his old username, his old gamer tag. Deciding to return to a more common identity, or a more common in his eyes, a more unique identity is a better way of putting it. TRL Limitless, what we've always known him as. And that's exactly what he's going to do. And he's now attacking TSR Bastek for that P7. Do you think that would be a good recovery drive from Limitless to get to P7, James?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, with this sort of grid we're looking at, it's so difficult to get any higher than that. If there's incidents, you're likely to get ahead. But I was going to point out, it's been such a poor day in the office for those on the pad today. It really has not served it well at all. They're not performing as planned. The likes of Rosberg, Langman, Leopard, I believe, and Reynolds, all using the pad, I believe, and none of which are actually, well, in the points or finishing the Grand Prix here today. Limitless, though, is right on the back. So is Evo of Snazzy Evening as they head towards turn one. Looks like Evo's got the move done on the Mercedes, and it looked pretty easy as well. The McLaren moves himself ahead, and into P5 he goes. On a recovery drive, you could say, that's been a good one from Evo. He's really proving out that he can make overtakes as well. Something that many people have questioned because of his calculated driving, but he's still a quality driver nonetheless, and proving that fate once again here today in the McLaren, getting ahead of Snazzy Evening. for P5. Limitless couldn't get the move done. Old Basek ahead of him as they headed towards turn 1, and he'll have to size him up maybe towards 130R and the chicane that follows.
Yep, well there you go then. Lovely stuff from Evo up then into P5. So yeah, solid recovery from Evo, but it has such a strong field, isn't it? And it shows when Evo's in P5 just how strong a field it is, with the likes of Martin ahead, Joe, Simon and Surprise. I mean, remember folks, you can tell us in the chat who you believe is your driver of the day. We've got 4.5 laps to go in this race. I'm going to give you the option now to have a look at the timing ladder and see who's changed the number of positions. We've got JD up the most. He's up 8 places from where he started. Snazzy down 5, Bastic down 5, Evo up 4, up 3 for Martin, Joe, Simon and Surprise have gone up 2 positions. But as Simon picks up a 3-second time penalty, that's going to give Joe P2 on the road. But at the moment, James, I don't know about you, I believe that Veloci Surprise will get driver of the day, not because he's winning the championship today, but because I think his performance has been head and shoulders above the rest. I think he's been brilliant.
Yeah, he has been absolutely exceptional throughout this Grand Prix. I'm just checking the penalties actually, Andy, just to see where he may finish here, Simon, because you have to stop go, but it doesn't often work that way. It doesn't often mean that you serve at the lap you get it. So that means that he would have something like 8 seconds worth of penalties would be before Simon. So he may find himself. Actually Evo finishes on the podium here, despite not even only finishing P5. That may be the way this race is. This race finishes for the likes of Evo, who may find himself on the podium in place of his McLaren teammate.
Well, there you go. Just shows you that consistency from CRG Evo, even when it's been a below par race by his incredibly high standards. Because P5 is not what you'd expect Evo to be, no doubt about it. I mean, that sounds incredibly harsh, but it's true. That's a compliment, really, just how strong Evo is at times. But still, going to finish on the podium in P3 as a result of Simon's penalties and Martin's penalties. So that just shows you the class of his driving as we continue to watch TRL Limitless, who, as I said, has gained the most positions of everyone on the racetrack, up 8 places from the start. And he is looking to make that 9 by making a move on Bastek, whose car has just went and given me a big X. Is he disconnected? Did he just disconnect?
Yeah, he did disconnect. And here goes Evo getting moved on Martin's there towards turn 1. Martin puts up no fight at all in that Red Bull, and the McLaren sails past him into 4th place, which could be 3 because of penalties to his teammate. So interesting how that one will develop in the end. But Evo driving a fine race. Martin's driven a brilliant race, to be fair. Martin has been pretty faultless in this Grand Prix, made plenty of overtakes, some brilliant moves at times, but just not enough to get onto that top stream. And you will see him. I'm sure he'll be on the podium at some point towards the end of the season. I don't want to put money on it, but I'm sure he could definitely do it with a few races to.
Well, he certainly needs to keep his foot down, because I don't think Snazzy Evening has a penalty, does he? Because Snazzy's within 3 seconds of him. So he could even find himself down in 6th position here, Martin. Or 5th, in fact, still, because not up to 4th because of Simon's penalties. But I mean, Snazzy could find himself 4th here.
He could well do, actually.
And, yeah, he could. So real opportunity here for Snazzy Evening. Keeps his foot in it to stay up in the top 4 in this Grand Prix, which would be a solid drive.
It would be, but he's got a lot of work to do, Snazzy Evening, to be fair to him. As much as Martin's got to push to pull the gap out, Snazzy's got to, because those tyres are some 5 laps older than Martin's medium, so he's going to have to keep on it, and I mean, he's going to have to keep on it now because he's got himself a penalty. It's pretty much all hope lost for Snazzy Evening in the Mercedes.
Yep, all over, and as far as that's concerned then, so that's a bit disappointing, just as we thought we were going to get something interesting there. Bastek's pitted. Well, that's because he's disconnected. I forget. Melanie up to P8. Raelix now goes up to P9. That will give Beefer an unlikely point in 10th. And Bastek now out of the running, so that's only CRL Ross Bug. I think he's still running, but he's way behind in P12. Bug for still running out there, or is that just his AI as well? I think he is running out there, is he not? Yeah, he is. So he's out there, and he will finish 11th in this Grand Prix with Bastek as AI. But we need to start picking up Veloci Surprise as Simon and Evo continue their battle. Surprise on his penultimate lap and on course for the championship. Looking really strong. A quick word, James, on Surprise. He really has Unstoppable, isn't he?
Yeah, just head. He's just so good at this game, this season. He's been absolutely phenomenal for Lotche Surprise. The start of the season made him what he is now, this champion, because he's surely going to come round to get his first ILR championship. He's got a lap to go, just joy really, because it's not often that we see this, but Williams has done it maybe once again in Suzuka. He has been absolutely faultless all season long. His lowest finish was 6th place at Monza, which was some drivers' highest. It's quite an amazing prize. Only 3 times this year has he not finished on the podium, and that proves just how good a driver this boy really is, because head and shoulders above most drivers in most leagues. It's just how much closer it could have been. This guy is really coming to stardom, and he will be a star for the future for sure. He is a star writing his name into those scripts as he comes around these final few corners.
Yep, the Lotche Surprise. Here he comes. I couldn't echo what you've said anymore, James. You've given us a great tribute there as he makes his way round and towards the final part of the lap. The Williams mechanics are making their way off and out of their seats from the garages. They know he is going to do the job if he keeps it on the island. They're heading over to the pit wall, ready to greet their new champion. Last season, it was Danny M7. He's weaving already as he makes his way down towards 130R. His Williams teammate is going to join in the party as he rounds the final corner. Here comes the Lotche Surprise. It was Danny last season, but this season it's all about surprise. He brilliantly wins the Japanese Grand Prix and the World Championship in ILR1 for the very, very first time. Second season, what a drive for Surprise. Champion again, champion in ILR. It's about time, and he wins it. From Joe in second, Evo in third, with Simon fourth and Martin in fifth. TRL Limitless got home in 6th, Snazzy Evening was 7th, 8th for Melanie, 9th for Drillix, and 10th for Beefer. But the big story today for Lotche Surprise, a first championship in ILR1, and it's with 5 rounds to spare. It's been a dominant performance, a dominant season from him. Surely we won't see anything as dominant as that ever again, because this tier is so strong.
It is so strong, and the way that he won this championship as well, he was just beating drivers that are just the best calibre, and he'll be absolutely beside himself to find out, because this is absolutely undoubtedly the biggest championship he's won. Absolutely in my mind about that, because there is the quality of drivers that he's had to come against, and he's proven just so many points over this last year or so. The Veloce team obviously has done. He's just proving his worth every week in this league, and it is just something that we're going to have to become used to. But he's going to have a if he wants to hold this championship next season.
Well, there it is, the final results from the Japanese Grand Prix. My driver of the day today, not only because he won the championship, it was a faultless drive from the youngster. Without doubt, one of the best performances of the season from any driver. The way he dealt with it at the start of the race, making his way past the cars around him and then pulled clear of the rest. It was a faultless performance from the new ILR1 Xbox champion. He is the king. He beats OMG It's Joe and did his best to keep it up. It wasn't to be today. CRG Evo brought it home in third. No penalties is the reason he's there, ahead of Simon, who picked up 8 seconds worth in fourth, and Martin with 3 in fifth. Still a strong day for him in the Red Bull. TRL Limitless brought it home sixth for a double 5th and 6th finish for the Red Bull team. Snazzy Evening dropped to 7th with Alex, came home in 8th. The Canadian picking up 4 points. Melanie got 2 points, and Beaver got the final point in 10th. Bastic disconnected, I should say. Leopard and Reynolds did. Time to go to James to give us the interviews, because we have got a reigning world champion in our presence, don't we?
Yeah, congratulations, Josh. All I can say is absolutely fantastic job this season. A massive congratulations on winning the ILR Championship. You've come to stardom over this last year, this last season. I mean, what are you feeling like right now? This has got to be such a high moment for you in league racing.
Yeah, it feels really good. I've put a lot of into practice and becoming better, so I can fight at the top and fight for these championships. I was never really, I was always there or thereabouts, but I was never up there. I was never fighting for the championship myself. So to do it now on my first season on the wheel, it's just, it's a really good feeling. I just want to say congrats to Joe as well on the challenge out to the season, but he's really improved over the mid stage of the season, and next season see him challenging for wins like he has been for the past few races. And yeah, also Simon, Evo, Martin, JD, all the guys I've raced against. Yeah, GG to them as well. And I'm just, now this is over. Well, not over, but the championship's over. I'm just more looking forward to next season because everyone has like what ifs. Like what if Simon had a better start to the season? What if Joe's performances were like the late half of the season and not the start of the season? What if Evo did the full 21 races? Stuff like that. Which next season I just wanna come back and win it again, prove I can do it.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Like I say, I mean, yeah, brilliant. But what has there been a moment in particular, other than now that you've just gone? Okay, was there a specific moment you thought, "I've got this championship"? Like you had such a good start to the season. Was there any point of which you just like, yeah, not in your head going, yeah, I could still, I'm definitely going to win this championship. I mean, not definitely, but you had that feeling that you just had that feeling you could take the championship.
Um, after Baku, I was pretty confident. I think I had won 4 out of 5 or something like that, and I thought, well, if I keep going like this, then yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult. But then everyone started to improve a lot, and I was finding it more difficult. You could tell if you look at the standings. Simon was beginning to win more races. I wasn't getting as many wins, and then Evo joins as well, and everyone more difficult. So yeah, so I thought Simon could catch up. But, unfortunately, yeah, the wheel issues and all the stuff like that. And then and then it was up until I think last week where I got the win, where I thought, okay, this could happen literally at the next race, and it did.
I mean, moving to your race today, which you started third on the grid, and it didn't ever really seem to look in doubt. It must have been just a nice race to have in this context of what you've done in the championship. It must be nice to have just had a race where the pressure was on, but you still overcame it, and you still had like a very good drive. So, I mean, the performance today, was it satisfactory for you?
Yeah, well, you never take it too easy with all the guys behind me. Pretty good leading soft runner, and then when I was able to get past the super soft runners, it was just about keeping it consistent. Take the championship with a race win. Yeah, I was really happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can only say congratulations. It's a massive achievement to win. Probably this is the best league on this console, and you've managed to perform
Definitely.
absolute wonders. So I congratulate you massively for that. And we move on to the man who come so close many a time this season. The second half of this season was absolutely phenomenal. I'm just Joe. There's still races to go off this season, and you'll be hoping for race wins, I take it, as we get to the next 4 rounds of the championship.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think I firstly should say congrats, Josh. You've been the man to beat all season, and it was thoroughly deserved. Yeah, so. But yeah, next part of the season, well, the rest of the season, I'm just going to try and do my best. Of course, the championship is pretty much wrapped up now for all positions. I don't know, Simon might be able to get me on second, but I'm not really too fussed either way. I'm just going to turn up, do my best, and yeah, try and win one more, which I really want. This is my second place in a row. I've had like 3 seconds in the last 4 races, something like that. So yeah, I just need to go one better next time out.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the form. Would you agree with Josh? Well, I mean, sorry, I'd say agree with Josh. I mean, if your form is all these ifs and buts that go around, isn't there? About if you'd have had more wins this season, obviously you'd have probably won. You could have taken the fight in the championship. So, Was there just a point where, I mean, as much as I say, was there a point for Josh where you thought, I can win this championship? Was there a point for you where you thought maybe you could win the championship, or ultimately the championship was just going to slip away from you?
Um, to be honest, like I think it was Baku as well as like I think it was the fourth race of the season or something. I had a win already. Um, I think it was Bahrain, but yeah, but Josh disconnected, so it was a bit like humble or whatever. So yeah, that was the sort of race where Josh had like a 9 second gap or something, but I could really like match him on lap time. So that was like where I realised, okay, I've got a chance in this league really. Um, yeah, but then the run of form, it didn't really go my way. I didn't really do that well mid table. I had one good race, which was Monaco, which is where I won. Apart from that was kind of a fluky race if you look at the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is just, well, congratulations on the season, because it's been a phenomenal season from your side as well, and just proving yourself against all these top guys. I mean, as if you didn't already, you really consolidate your place amongst best on this game now, and that's something that's got to be looked upon with fondness. And we've got to move. If Evo is here, we'll move swiftly on to Evo in P3.
Yeah, I'm here.
Fingers crossed. Yeah,
It's
he's
working
here.
now.
Good. Yeah, good. Right. So, yeah, I mean, again, have you got any thoughts about Josh's championship and how he's won it? I mean, you haven't been here an awfully long time, but you must have seen just the sheer amount of effort that's gone in for him to win this championship today, or this season, I should say.
Uh, yeah, congrats to him for winning the championship. I thought pretty much every race, so I think he deserved to win the championship this early. He just performed really consistent and was really, really fast throughout the season. Um, yeah, I think Joe really delivered. I can't speak. Help. Really, really improved as a
Delivered.
driver. Let's say it that way. Um, I think next season it will be closer, really close. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this season for you, you've had, a really good start to life in Ireland. Let's be honest. You've had the one race in Russia which didn't go to plan, and the qualifying here maybe didn't go to plan. But I mean, overall, you've got to be pretty satisfied with how your season's gone so far in Ireland. You've still got races to go and win. So, what are your thoughts ahead of the remainder of this season?
Um, I mean, in this race, I was just going unprepared in this race, to be honest. I had like 2 hours of practice, so I'll take P3. Yeah, the next race is, I think it's USA next. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, Normally a track I like, but it's a different game, so it's probably different. Yeah, it should be a close fight as always. Now that the championship is decided, I think everyone is just going for it. Yeah, should be good races to watch.
Hopefully it will be. Hopefully it'll be as good to commentate on as well. Just let's get the drivers, get the gloves off, and let's just go for it now. Because that's what I want to see as much as anything, Andy. And if you've got any, obviously, have you got any further questions to add?
Not got any questions really. I think you've covered it quite well with the questions. I think I just want to just got to say well done to Josh on the championship. As I think everyone said already, he has been head and shoulders above the rest. Superb performance again today. And I mean, there was a lot of questions being asked about. Well, okay, Evo wasn't there at the start, etc., etc. Simon started poorly, but today was a perfect example of why Josh is champion. He put in a faultless display today against the field that had Evo in it, that had Simon in it, etc., etc. And he put in probably his best performance of the season and won the championship today with a faultless drive. He's my driver of the day as well, but also at the same time, I cannot wait for next season to start. I think next season is going to be brilliant. I think the next 5 races, the next 4 races, however many's left, is going to give us a real indication of what to expect next season. So I'm really looking forward to it. Remember, of course, we probably won't have the full 20 odd races next season. So it will be all about being consistent, getting a good start to the championship early on as well. So these runs coming up are going to get people in good shape for the new season. So plenty to play for still. I'm excited for it. So I don't know what you think, James, but I'm buzzing for next season.
Yeah, I'm properly excited because the way that the second half of the season's formed gives me some confidence that it will be very, very close again next season. And I want to see a season like we did last season, where it was just complete gloves off all season long, and we got to the final race of the year and 3 men could be champion. So that was what I want to see.
Again.
Yeah,
that could happen again, no doubt about it. The quality in the field is so tight that we could see that. We've seen that since mid-season with Joe improving, Evo arriving, etc., etc. It has been incredible. But we still have the small matter of the remaining races, and we head now to the US Grand Prix. Is that correct? In Texas. So of course, be sure to join us next week at 7:30 next Friday. We have a champion crowned, but we've still got plenty to play for, plenty to keep you guys entertained. That's all from me. That is all from James, and that's all from our world champion, Veloci Surprise. Congratulations to him and our podium sitters as well, Evo and Joe. That's all from us. Good night, and we'll see you next week. Josh is champion.